I love you. Have a good day. This life's been kind to me, and I've got to change. To stop taking it for granted. I should have looked at this view more. I'll do that from now on. I've got to get out of the habit of ignoring the small miracles in life. I only seem to pay attention when something is wrong, not when it's right. Even an elevator is a minor miracle. Someone invented this. I know consciously that there was a time when this technology didn't exist. It's just so hard to see beyond the present. I'm going to take control. It feels like I drifted into these routines. Some routine is good, sure. Other routines are just how we fill our days. I can't believe how lucky I've been, and I took it for granted. Things are okay, but they're not going anywhere. I'll tell him tonight. can't think how often we chatted there, talking late into the night. We used to walk in the park together. We should do more of that. I didn't expect it, but I feel happy I've made this choice. Patterns. Every day the same start. Harry never wakes up from my alarm. I think of these routines as optimized living, like they allow me time to focus on other things. But I've not been doing that. Why have I just passed by this for so long? It's beautiful. Great stories trapped in a moment. They're brilliant, but maybe I should add some new ones. I think I'll wear this one. It's Harry's favorite t-shirt on me. These daily things, they're good, but weigh us down too. I've got to a good place in life, but I feel like I'm not taking it further. Even here I get into patterns. Bathroom first, then kitchen for breakfast. Maybe I should change that. Meaningful change only today, not pointless ones as a distraction. No excuses. It's time to get with the program. I believe in this relationship. Time to show it. I should ask Harry to marry me. Yeah, that feels right. Marriage. When I was at uni, I loved Sarah, but I didn't feel this way. I loved her, do love her, but not how I feel about Harry.
It was the first day at university. I was terrified. My parents drove me up to the student village. The back of the car was stuffed with everything that I owned. I was faking a look of confidence. I doubt anyone noticed. Probably everyone else was too. Paul is my mum's boyfriend. He liked Will. My biological dad probably wouldn't have. It seemed like I had an enormous amount of stuff. I went inside first. I had a room to myself in a shared house, and we already had the keys. I don't remember where we got them from. Mum or Paul must have picked them up from the admin person, I guess. I felt butterflies in my stomach when I walked into my dorm room for the first time. I was really nervous, and I didn't think about how Mum and Paul felt leaving me there. It was scary for me, but must have been... I don't know. I suppose I'll understand someday what it's like to say goodbye to your child. When they left that day, they would be going home to an empty house, you know? I wasn't paying much attention to unloading. My room had a really thin nylon carpet and the cheapest mattress the university could find, I think, and I didn't care at all. It was my own space. You remember how that felt? Having control for the first time. I felt terrified, but excited too. Though mostly just lost. I didn't realise everyone felt the same. Of course, I was thinking a bit about dating. Everyone there was, I think. I felt average, but I wasn't. None of us are, really. Wait, no, cute is the right word. I wasn't really thinking about sexy back then. I felt so adult, but I had so much growing up to do. It's funny to think back, like this, now. I didn't notice Will again for a couple of weeks. If I'm honest, I'd forgotten about him while I got set up in my new home, though he must have been in the lectures. So anyway, I next noticed him through the window of the Union Bar. I remembered he'd looked back at me on that first day, and it made me smile. Britpop was still doing pretty well. Good music, Blur, Pulp, that kind of thing, and Oasis weren't just repeating themselves then. Not that the Union was playing much of those. It was a typical Friday, crowded with the windows dripping with condensation, cheap spilled drinks making the floor sticky. After I'd seen him at the window, I wanted to talk to him. Maybe more. I pretty much went on the hunt. It's tricky when you're not very tall and the lights are low. It was hard to spot Will in the crowd. It had only been a few weeks, but I felt like a new woman already. Or I was on my way, at least. Will always gave me a good vibe. I know that sounds weird, but there it is. He just felt like a good person. He was too. Considering it was the first thing I ever said to him, it's funny that I have no idea what the conversation was about that I butted into. I don't think there was any doubt about my intentions. We had a few drinks and I remember pulling him outside. I could feel my heart racing, that excitement of anticipation. The cold night air hit me, and I felt a little dizzy. And that was when he first kissed me. Our first proper date was to the cinema. We sat in the middle, surrounded by people. I felt nervous to touch him with all the people nearby. We both fidgeted, trying to work out how to start. I kept on trying to look at him from the side to see if he was looking at me. I shifted in my seat a bit, letting my leg touch his. I was so smooth. I wanted to hold his hand, but he seemed to shy away. Or maybe he didn't intend that. The film had that guy in it who always acts crazy but then does lots of action kick-ass stuff. We weren't really paying attention, I think. It was like everything else faded out. I put my hand on his leg, he turned to me and did that shy smile of his. His hand was warm and dry, and his skin soft. He gently held the side of my face, turning me towards him. He closed his eyes and kissed me, placing his lips softly onto mine. We locked our fingers together and watched the rest of the film. We didn't let go until ages after we left the cinema. As we were going, though, I had this weird, prescient feeling. I could feel I was falling in love fast for the first time, but it was so strong, it would end. Will always gave the impression of confidence, like he always had a grand plan. I wish I knew if he saw that end coming too, like I felt it was. I don't know if that would have made how it went any easier. I spent the next day finally doing the unpacking that I'd been putting off. I'd done my clothes and the essentials, but there were other bits to be done. When I was born, someone from my mum's work gave me a toy bunny. I know it's silly, but it makes me happy. I've still got that bunny on a shelf in my room. It's like looking straight into the past and some good times. Even the smell makes me happy. My mum gave me a tasseled cloth scarf to remind me of home. She's a right hippie. I'd packed loads of my old books. Nothing really related to uni, I just liked having them nearby. There were some candles my mum had given me. Will was coming over later that week and I was falling for him, so I thought I'd make it more cosy in there. Is it weird to tell you this? I kept on changing my mind. It shouldn't have mattered so much, but I wanted the place to look nice. It's weird how long you think about such small things. The little choices are important. I guess it didn't make any difference really, but I was happy when I was sure I'd got it right. I wanted to feel comfortable when Will came over. Will and I, it felt like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, and just as likely to burn us both as to make us happy. But what a lovely way to burn. That Christmas, I met Will's family. We'd been together for 4 months. Do you remember me there? I don't think I really said much that day. I was head over heels in love with him and very worried I'd say something wrong. We were still at that stage where you constantly want to touch the other person. I love that, but I didn't reach out with his family or there. I remember he lightly touched the back of my neck as he poured me some wine, and it sent tingles into my stomach. It was a really nice meal, and we all got on okay. You only get to make one first impression, so I probably should have worn something else. I felt quite self-conscious. I loved him so much, but that feeling I had wouldn't go away, that it was all going to end. That Christmas Day, though, I felt like we had a chance. Things were going well, but over the months, I felt the relationship changing. We would listen to music as we fell asleep. Do you remember Enigma? Monks chanting and electronic stuff. We'd put that on a lot and just let ourselves drift off to the music. We listened to a lot of Portishead. Even now when I listen to them, I remember being back in that room, in his arms. The longer we dated, the more we stayed in. We had a few friends that we'd go out for drinks with, and Harry, but Will and me spent most of our time together. It still makes me smile, thinking of that room and those days. I could feel the end of it all shaping up, but we had good times anyway. We were in love, but lonely too. Feeling like the only people in the world. You cherish the other person, but you long for another life too. Maybe I didn't mind Will getting closer to Harry because it felt like our own love was too much for two people. Will and me were studying English. Harry was on the course too. There was a spark between Will and Harry, that much was obvious. Will was always happy when Harry was around. I couldn't feel jealous. I wanted them to be happy. I'll never forget that time, seeing their friendship grow. We would watch videos in bed together, or whatever was on the TV. There was a transgender character on Coronation Street. We talked about that for a long time. I'm straight and hadn't really thought about my sexuality. It was just what I was. Will was just who he was too. It's funny to tell you this now, but I was never jealous of Harry. You'd think I would be, but I loved Will so much. I just wanted him to be happy. It might seem odd to you, but it was my suggestion. I told Will to ask out Harry. I loved him. I knew it would make us all happy for Will to have Harry in his life. It was something he needed to do. I feel lucky. How many times in your life will you be sure you've helped a person find their true love? Though it was rough. For a long time, I wished that true love had been me. Let me paint a picture for you of the end. Will had been seeing both me and Harry at the same time for about 6 months. I can see you think that sounds weird, but it really wasn't. We were all open, safe, and honest about it. The picture. It was October, and we met in the basement of the Royal Oak. Smoking was still allowed in pubs, and the faint smell clung to everything. The seats were covered with tapestry fabric that was worn and faded. The tables were dark, heavy wood. The stone floor smelled slightly of disinfectant. I knew what I was going to say to Will. I had a friend before uni who was having boyfriend problems and asked me what love is. I told her that love was being able to tell a person that you never wanted to see them again. even though it broke your heart to do it, you would tell them to leave you because it was right. I was quite happy with that answer. Like love was something from a Shakespearean tragedy. I don't know why they asked me. I'd never been in love when I said that. I didn't think I'd have to do it myself one day. I didn't expect to be right. We need to talk.
Oh?
This needs to change.
You mean us?
I feel like I'm getting in your way.
You're not. This is good.
Sure, but I don't know if it's good for you.
I'd like to be the one making that choice.
I'm happy with you. I love you, but this isn't about me.
I love you too. I want to be with you.
I know. But that doesn't mean you should be.
Is this it? Can I do anything differently?
No, you've not done anything wrong.
I don't want this.
Me either. But it's right.
I love you.
I love you too. I loved him so much. It hurt so badly to let him go. I never forgot him. Love doesn't just stop when you split up. It barely even fades, really. It just mellows with age and memory. I've never loved anyone like that again. It took me 2 years to get over Will. I saw him falling deeper and deeper in love with Harry. Maybe we all could have kept on dating together the way we were. I didn't think of that as an option at the time. I threw myself into my studies to try to forget. I graduated with first-class honours, so I guess it worked out well. I never really forgot that feeling of love for Will, but eventually I dated again and fell in love again. A different kind of love, but wonderful too. But I don't think two loves are ever the same. That's the way it's supposed to be, I think. The way Will and I were together was something amazing, a special time that changed me. It didn't matter that it wasn't forever, it was right exactly how it was.
I didn't stop loving Sarah. I haven't stopped. Though, it's different now. We still meet and catch up. There was a reason we dated. She's wonderful. We both moved on okay, in the end. The breakup. I know she did it for me, but it hurt us both. She really questioned herself. Would it have been easier if I'd been with another woman? The pain she went through. I don't want to do that to anyone ever again. Especially not Harry. We can't control how we feel. I'm sure I'll piss him off eventually, wanting too much or too little or something. I don't know. It's fine to say that was the past, but I still look at others. I'm human. Why am I doing this to him? He'd be an idiot to marry me. Tea. My grandma said that tea solves everything. Sarah's life worked out okay. I didn't screw it all up. I might break Harry's heart too. Perhaps I should just end it now. Man up. That's what my grandma would have said.
Of course, as Will's grandmother, I knew him since he was born. I visited him in hospital on that first day. I still remember the day that James, that's Will's father, handed my grandson to me. He was such a handsome boy from that first moment. Back in the 1980s, James was running 3 pubs in London. He was quite into that punk thing and looked a terrible state to me. I would babysit Will as often as I could to make sure he had someone normal in his life. Will's birth wasn't very easy, but he got here. He was never going to have brothers or sisters after that. It's good for a young boy to be outdoors, but Will never really liked that when he was young. James and Sharon both loved so-called music, And there was always something playing around Will. I thought it was an awful racket personally, but there's no accounting for tastes. I turned it off when I was babysitting. Sharon, Will's mother, met my James when he was working in London. She's American. They broke up for 3 years, and she took Will to America with her. Sharon was always reading. She taught art history. Never really made much money. James loved such peculiar books, all those horror things. That one about the rats. Dreadful things, really. I don't know what he saw in them. I only wanted the best for Will. I must sound like I was terribly damning of James and Sharon. But I loved Will as a boy and wanted to give him the best chance of a normal life. I remember that night because Will had been unusually quiet all evening. He told me that he'd been in a fight. A boy had been calling a dark-skinned girl names. Will was punched in the stomach when he tried to get the boy to stop. I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes. I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad? I suppose I didn't answer his question. I told him that he would be a good man when he was grown up and be able to stand up for himself. I told him that he was right to try to stop the bully. Now I think about it, I don't think he was very comforted. When he was going to bed, Will tripped on a toy. I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry. He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling. I have so many little memories making up our lives together. It's odd what sticks with you, though. I took him to bed to read him a story. He liked ghost stories, but I thought he was too young for them. He would get very scared after the light was out. Sharon kept on buying him more, though. I made sure he could see me looking carefully. I always had to check the room for ghosts before he would settle down. I remember that night clearly. I remember promising him that I would always protect him, no matter whatever happened. Of course, he was thinking of ghosts still, but maybe I knew then that his life wasn't going to be so easy. I was reading Grimm's fairy tales to him. I liked those much more than the new versions that they kept on coming out with back then. That night was a strange story, called The Ungrateful Son. It went something like this. Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner. When the man saw his father, a very old man, walking along the road towards them, the man didn't want to share, and so he hid the chicken out of sight. His father came, bid them a good day, and went on his way. The man was happy with himself and told his wife to get the chicken and put it on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad, which leapt onto the face of the man. The toad wouldn't leave his face and hissed at the wife when she came near, so she didn't dare approach to help. The man had to feed the toad every day from then on, or it would bite his face, and he never rested for the remainder of his life. Like I say, it was a very strange story. Will was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing. I felt strange after reading it. I wondered about whether I really could keep him safe. I knew I would do my best to help him find his place in the world. Any other grandmother would try to do the same. I could still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday. I never thought it would be easy, but I had raised James, so I thought I would be ready for anything from my grandson Will. The world changes so quickly. I remember the family visiting me when Will was a teenager. Do you know Al Martino's Here in My Heart? He had such a lovely voice. It was playing when Robert first kissed me. Robert would hum it to me sometimes. We've family over in New Zealand. I went to visit them after James had grown up. We still write letters to each other, at Christmas, you know. It's important to stay in touch with your family, even when we're so spread out. My husband Robert was a writer. Sadly, he died before Will really knew him. He could have gone far if he'd applied himself a bit more. I started a small collection of glass animals many years ago. I would buy a new one whenever I went to Brighton. It's good to get out of the house, enjoy the fresh sea air. Back then, Diana had just done that interview, and so we were all waiting for the divorce. There was no way we thought that they could stay together. Sometimes people treat us old people like we have nothing to say, so I started the conversation. I see that Diana is in the news again. It seems like she's never out of it these days. It's about time she stopped keeping everyone waiting.
I think it's sad. She was bullied into all of this from the beginning.
The conversation didn't go well from there. I got very frustrated with him. James didn't help. He has always been so obtuse in his views. I told you before that Sharon is American. She didn't say anything, which was probably a blessing, really. I wish I hadn't even tried. They didn't want to hear my views. I said that I was going to make some tea. No one offered to help. I felt patronised. I don't think they really wanted tea. I didn't really want it either, but I didn't want to stay in there. I suppose all this seems like a strange thing to remember, but it was a sad day for me. I wish Will understood that you've got to fit in to get along in life. It's easier to be different now, but all he could see was the need of one person, at the risk to everything else. There wasn't any choice in my day, but it gave me a quiet life. That was good enough. James and Sharon were both adults, but Will... I was worried about him, getting all these views. It could get him into trouble. I was so scared that Will was going to go off half-cocked and make a mess of his life. I let the tea brew. And I found myself crying, standing in the kitchen like a silly old what's-it. He was going to go off with views like that and get in trouble, and I couldn't do a thing. I knew something had been broken that day between Will and I. I took a deep breath and pulled myself together. It doesn't help anything to let others see you get upset. Robert passed away soon after Will was born. I've lived alone since then. It felt tolerable being by myself, until that new distance. It's a terrible thing, to feel detached from your own family. I know I'm from a different generation with different values, but I don't think they're all wrong. I wasn't prepared to accept that Will wasn't going to talk to me anymore. You can't accept it, really, when you see someone you love putting their future at risk. All these free ideas about people choosing their own way to live. He would understand later. But how much later? But before he changed, what damage would he do to his options? I was nervous about that Christmas. We hadn't been close for a while. Doing Christmas by yourself takes a lot of work, but I like to keep busy. I remember a Christmas after Will had gone to university, but we were all coming back together for the holiday. I kept in touch with a lot of friends. We didn't have email, of course, but even now they just aren't as good as a real letter. Will was bringing a girlfriend, Sarah. I wanted the place to look perfect. My family arrived just as the Christmas lunch was ready. It was perfect timing. I hadn't seen Will since he left. I wanted him to understand I wanted the best for him. I always wanted that, no matter if he disagreed with me. Sarah was lovely, of course. She was a bit shy back then, I think. We talked about her university courses. She really had no reason to be nervous. James is like his father, really. A wonderful boy. But I do wish he would apply himself more. Did I tell you that Sharon and James split up for 3 years once? Will spent the time in America with her family. It was hard for me, not seeing him. He was 10 and, like most boys, he wasn't interested in writing many letters. Will was growing up to be such a fine man. He was so courteous and attentive.
Thanks.
It filled me with pride and hope to see him that day. He was becoming the man I had hoped he would be. Sarah seemed like such a lovely match for him. He would have a happy, normal life. But that was the last time I saw her. The next summer, I went to visit Will at university. Arriving on time is a common courtesy, so often overlooked, I feel. So I set off in plenty of time to drive down to see him. The university had a lovely mix of old and new buildings. After arriving early, I went to look at them. There were so many young people there, all full of life and excited about the future. Lots of beautiful girls around, and I was hoping I might spot Sarah. University wasn't a normal option for people in my time, and I never went. A solid education helps to improve a person. At first, I saw Will from a short distance before he saw me, and I couldn't make out what he was doing. Then I saw that he was holding hands with a man. And then, right out in front of everyone, they kissed. I couldn't believe it. I knew that his views would get him in trouble. After all I had tried to teach him, he went and did that. I left right away. I couldn't think of a single thing I could say to him. Will hadn't seen me. I simply had no idea how I could be expected to act like everything would be okay for him. He was still so young. There are people out there who won't accept that sort of thing. The university suddenly seemed like a place full of smug, self-satisfied people. Ugly. It was full of children, running around abusing the freedom that my generation worked hard to earn for them. I could barely stay civil with anyone there. He had made me furious. He was putting himself in danger after everything I had done for him. That sort of thing. It all just feels wrong to me. Sorry, but that's just the way I feel about this. I barely saw Will for the next few years. I couldn't bring myself to talk to him. I suppose it was silly of me. He had gone travelling after university, and I stayed at my house. It's hard not to live in the past sometimes, when you have so much time to yourself. I wish my husband Robert had had more of a chance to know Will. I had all these hopes for who Will would be when he was a grown man. I don't know if he knew how much I loved him when he was growing up. I remember so clearly before he changed, when he was just a happy little boy. But life goes on. I was in the garden. Things do have a habit of getting overgrown if you leave them too long. Will had been travelling the world. I would very occasionally get a postcard from somewhere foreign. This was before he went into the travel journalism. I worried about him so much. Oh. How could he be happy when he wouldn't settle down? All he wanted was constant change. Everything needed to be new all the time for him. I was going to answer it, but snagged my foot in the grass and twisted my ankle. It hurt like blazes, and I lay there feeling like a complete fool. I couldn't do a thing. The doorbell went again, but it hurt too much to move. I called out for help. I heard someone coming around the side of the house. Will had come to visit after coming back from travelling. I had been so cold to him, never reaching out, but that didn't matter to him.
It's okay.
He looked after me anyway. Inside the man he was, I could see for the first time the same kind boy I knew before. I don't claim that I'll understand some of his choices,
Let's get you inside.
but inside, he really always had been the man that I wanted him to be. Kind and strong. I'd missed that, blinded by only one part of him. He was still everything I could have hoped for. He was even kind to a fool like me. I'll never forget that.
Grandma isn't going to change overnight, but she's starting to grow for the first time in a long time, I think. I guess she feels like she's losing something, but sometimes we need to let go to be able to move on. I've had my own hang-ups. Grandma taught me about responsibility, and I've been scared of settling. No, just scared of love. But I'm growing too. I don't know the future, but I know that patterns aren't really the problem. We shape our own future. I want to do that with Harry. Marriage is the right choice. I've held back too long with him, thinking about what would change. But that's meaningless, really. I know I want him in my life forever. We could start a family. Actually, that's not a bad idea. One thing at a time, though, hey? Am I going too fast? A family together. I think I'd like that. This is going to be a big day. Keys? Forth into the undiscovered country. I love you. Have a good day. This life's been kind to me, and I've got to change. To stop taking it for granted. I should have looked at this view more. I'll do that from now on. I've got to get out of the habit of ignoring the small miracles in life. I only seem to pay attention when something is wrong, not when it's right. Even an elevator is a minor miracle. Someone invented this. I know consciously that there was a time when this technology didn't exist. It's just so hard to see beyond the present. I'm going to take control. It feels like I drifted into these routines. Some routine is good, sure. Other routines are just how we fill our days. can't believe how lucky I've been, and I took it for granted. Things are okay, but they're not going anywhere. I'll tell him tonight. I can't think how often we chatted there, talking late into the night. We used to walk in the park together. We should do more of that. I didn't expect it, but I feel happy I've made this choice.
We didn't always get much of a chance to see each other during the weekdays. He worked really hard. He loved his job. On Sundays, we would go to the park to feed the ducks. That was in the end of the summer, but it was beautiful in the winter too. It was away from everything else. It was our place to be together. It's silly, really. There's nothing here that doesn't make me think of him. He loved ducks. They always made him smile. It was something in the way they walked. And then one day, he was gone. No one knows yet who caused the crash, but he was driving at the time. It doesn't really matter anymore. He was unconscious from the crash to the hospital. I don't remember the journey in the taxi. I just remember standing at the desk inside, asking for him, crying. And a doctor quietly took me aside to tell me I was too late. Such a small thing. A week after the crash, I was calm. Then I saw his toothbrush and knew I had to throw it away. And wept. Collapsed on the floor of the bathroom. these things, these reminders of our time together. I never thought I'd be here, wanting them gone. Sometimes he would read to me at night. I would lie with my eyes closed, just listening to the sound of his voice, feeling my breathing slow, knowing he was beside me. When friends come to visit me, they speak to me in a quiet voice, as if a loud sound might startle me. They ask about the missing objects. I say, I'm going for a minimalist look. They nod and give me a strange smile, but I know they don't believe me. They know the reminders hurt too much. I've been walking more since he died. I've been trying to get away from the memories to find something new, but everywhere I go, I see things that make me think of him. His car hardly had any damage. It's just a habit to call it a crash. It wasn't much more than a bump. He was just sitting in the wrong position, his head turned the wrong way, and the impact broke something inside him. The doctors say it was a 1 in 1,000 chance. I think that's supposed to console me, but I just don't understand how. I'm not ready to sit at a table for one yet, staring at an empty seat. He once told me that you could judge how much money there is in an area by the state of the street lamps. Something about the style and the freshness of the paint. I don't remember. decided to stay inside more. Keep to the inside. I can control what's in here. But even at work, there are reminders. I need this space to be clear, so I can be free. We had the rest of our lives. I had his life, but he won't have mine. I don't understand any of this. I can't stand how I feel inside right now. Something has to change. He'd want me to be happy, but I can't be. Not living like this. Get rid of all these things. I'll get new things, things that I didn't use with him. I'm nearly there. It's all gone. He's gone. But he's not. I can't get rid of him. Why won't he leave me alone? I'm different now. He changed me. I feel the space he's left inside me. But it's okay. It's his shape. That's going to be part of me that I carry forever. Denying that would be killing him again. It's okay to long for him still. But I know it's okay to live again too. He'd hug me now, laugh at me for crying, then probably burst into tears and start laughing at himself too. I can still hear his voice reading his favourite books to me as I drifted off to sleep. Our lives are written into the small things all around me. Maybe they'll carry another story someday, but it's enough to have those memories here for the moment. I don't know if this world is all there is, but the time with him meant something. It was special to me. That time will never happen again.
I'll never forget him. He reached out to me when I had pushed him away. When he was small, I'd looked after him. But in the end, he looked after me when I needed him. He was growing up, and the world was changing too. He was becoming mature. He showed me things I had never seen before.
Okay, so this is the mouth.
He often visited over the years. And then you came to see me. And then you told me what had happened.
It's one of those strange things. I had just been thinking about Will. We kept in touch a little, then a few years later became friends again when he was working based out of London. It felt good to have him in my life again. He talked about his job, his family. He often spoke about you both. He told me how happy he was. And then you called me. Hello? He was happy at the end.
He loved you both so much. I still keep on thinking I'll see him again, or that he's walking beside me just in the corner of my eye. It's silly, really. I kept thinking about how bad my luck was, but that's not true. We were lucky. We were so lucky. After we had talked, I went back to the park, to the place where Will and I had spent so much time together. I had so many more fragments of his life that I had never known. I felt at peace. Talking with them, even without Will, I felt I wasn't so alone. They carry him with them too. I just needed to let myself see that. Sometimes we only get to spend a little time with the ones that we love the most. I wasn't ready to accept that. But this is my life now. Without him. I don't know if I'll love like that ever again. But to have felt it once, and to know that love is real, that's enough for me.